talking about what is happening on the continent of Africa, as the political instability that dogged Africa after colonialism is gradually creeping back to haunt the continent. Concerns are growing over recurrent coup in Africa. The latest is Monday's coup in Burkina Faso, the fourth in West Africa and the sixth on the continent since 2020. Meanwhile, the Economic Community of West African States has suspended Burkina Faso over the coup. Well, ex-semper aliquid Africa novi, or ex-semper Africa aliquid novi. I'm trying to remember the Latin expression that says, can anything good come out of Africa? We thought that coups are no longer fashionable, and that is what we're saying. What happened in Nigeria is what we are still reaping up until now. What's your reading of this, latest growing trends?
Coup started becoming fashionable again in Africa in 2017 after Mr. Papa sit down forever, Robert Mugabe. He had been the president since he was the prime minister, was president since 1980. 1980, and then until he was ousted in 2017, and everybody supported it then. People supported it because it was ready. It was believed to be preparing his wife from taking over. You understand? So after that, we've had several coups. You have had Sudan, you've had Guinea, you've had Burkina Faso, you've had it twice in Mali, all of that. Now, the truth of the matter is that coups are never the solution to the problems caused by civilians. In our country, I'm just imagining, if there had not been coup, if there had not been a military, military interruption in the polity, maybe Nigeria will not be where it is now. Many times when we talk about moving forward in the country, what we're actually talking about is moving backward. I'll tell you what I mean by that. We remember the years of the founding fathers of Nigeria. We remember Tafawa Balewa. We remember Awolowo. Now, we remember the good days of Awolowo. We're actually saying, let's go back. When we should be talking of improving upon what those people... Now, that is what happened. But why won't you have coups in some of those countries? When, number one, you have dictators in civilian clothes. You have people whose policies, actions and inactions continue to impoverish the citizens, leave the citizens disgruntled, disenchanted, and then you see poverty, you keep pauperizing the people, no development, nothing, it's everywhere. You have case of insecurity and all of that. But the truth of the matter is, the military has never solved the problem created by civilians. In fact, they end up becoming worse. Now, we have Nigerian example. We have examples in Nigeria. They end up becoming worse. And that is what is happening. Look at what happened in Burkina Faso. Is it Burkina Faso or was it? The one that happened recently. I want to talk about Mali. You said you were going to hand over, then you said no, it's no longer feasible. You hand over some years coming. And then you see, coupists.
That's Mali.
Exactly. Coupists cannot provide solution to the problem of their countries. But the truth of the matter is that when the desirable is not available, the available becomes the desirable
or the inevitable.
Yeah. So of course, it keeps happening. And it's very sad.
Right.
It's sad.
Right. Well, he actually said that the junta cannot provide solution to the problems on ground. But it's very funny and fascinating to see Malians in Nigeria, giving back, saying they are in support of the junta in their country because they believe that there has been age-long corruption existing in the country. So what do you say to this? Well, we say it is no longer fashionable. We should not have it. But you're having the citizens of that country saying, this is what we want. This is what we've always wanted. Because they believe they are going to sanitize the rots in the government, in the system.
When people are oppressed, there is always this kind of illusion that anybody that comes up, we want to support him. I'm sure that if you go to Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso, you will find a lot of people who are critical, who are deep-rooted, who will tell you that, look, this is not the right thing. It does. The few people that are demonstrating on the streets, they are responding to the euphoria. But there are sober moments when they reflect about the history of their country. They will know that past military governments have not resolved anything. Now, if you look at what is going on, Mali, Guinea, and Burkina Faso, there is something that is common about those three countries. Right. The first one is they are all former French colonies, you know. Then they are all located in West Africa, one of the poorest regions in the world, where you have poverty, where you have nepotism, where you have corruption, and then those three countries are also faced with Islamic insurgency. In fact, the excuse given by those coups was that, look, the soldiers are dying, you know, there's no more security. Look at Burkina Faso. Burkina Faso has about 1 million displaced people, a country of just 20 million people. You know, Mali, the same thing. Mali is just about 20 million, and then Guinea is about 13 million people. And then what is also common about this country is ethnic rivalry. These were artificial countries created by the French, you know, with artificial borders without consultation with the different ethnic groups. If you go to a place like Burkina Faso now, we'll see traditional rivalry between the ethnic groups, you know, which has not given room for the country to develop on its own, to be able to resolve this crisis because of the legacy of colonial masters. So there is something common among all of them. And of course, ECOWAS is condemning the coups and all that, very good, but ECOWAS should also condemn bad governments before those coup plotters, you know, rise up. So ECOWAS should not be silent to bad situations in West African countries. They should not wait until there are military coups. But I think overall, military coups are not the best solutions. You know, even though it's happening very close to us in Nigeria, we are not going to accept it in Nigeria. West African countries must rise up to ensure that they stop this trend and to insist that people must have the right to choose their leaders. And I think that best system is democracy.
Well, that makes sense. Let's go to, we've got a guest on via Zoom who is joining us via Zoom for more discussion on this particular issue. Is a professor of history at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Professor Olukemi Rotimi. Thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangouts on Sunday.
Thank you.
So I would like to start by posing this question to you. Why is coup now fashionable on the continent of Africa, especially talking about the recent coups that we have?
Because of the excesses of the elected leaders.
Yeah, try to expatiate on that. Excesses, what do you mean by that?
Where do we start from? In the three West African countries where we have had the recent coups, we all know the story. Mali, Guinea, Burkina Faso. The Mali man, very regrettably, after wasting the lives of the citizens of the country, and the soldiers pushed him out, the man is now late. Now he's gone, he's totally out of the scene. But the tyranny, the impoverishment, the horrible circumstances of the citizens of Mali continued. So soldiers are no solution to any problem. But when elected leaders overreach themselves, misbehave, manipulate unnecessarily the democratic process to stay forever, what do you expect? Now, Guinea. I mean, that man, when he was removed the other day, he was 83. And if he was a more sober human being, if he reflected on how he acceded to power, he should have known that he didn't have to do what he did, the tenure elongation thing. And I remember one head of state of that country grew so old that when he went to Mecca on pilgrimage, he couldn't run around the Kaaba. I think his military chief had to carry him on his back to do the same. What is nonsense all about? Burkina Faso, we know what happened to the man who has run away after killing his friend. And he stayed in power for 17 or 20 years. Comparing. Now, these other guys got there, unfortunately, the insurgency ravaging West Africa, which has now enveloped almost the whole of West Africa, intervened, and then they couldn't even manage the process well. And now the soldiers have intervened again. Now, shall we extend the thing now to Cote d'Ivoire, where after all that Alassane Ouattara went through before he could become president, the man is a colossal disappointment with all of the urbanity, the exposure, World Bank, IMF staff, and all that, and that long quest for the office. What have we got for it? Tenure elongation. And who says that is not also sitting on the keg of gunpowder now? But all of this, what hurts me, what irritates me, is the continuing impoverishment of the citizens. And French African countries, if they have any grey matter at all, should by now be told, warn themselves against the fact that France will not come to chase away anybody for you. France is committed only to its best national interest. So whether it is a soldier or it is a civilian person, doesn't matter to France. So when you mismanage your lives and then the unfortunate happens, what do you expect? Nothing. I mean, the other man woke up and said he's not even living in Mali for another 5 years. You have locked, you have blockaded, you have boycotted. What does it matter? When the borders are open, what did Mali get for it? So, please, it's a shame. It's a shame.
Well, is that to say that the sit-tight syndrome, which we know that's one of the reasons why we have this military, junta coming into place, but the social contract of the thing, we've given you the power, we've elected you to represent us. So do what we want, do what will make us happy. But is that to say now that democracy is somewhat failing on the continent of Africa? We are not really exercising or ensuring that democratic values are there any longer.
I would rather talk about. Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would rather we talk about demonstration of praise instead of democracy. Which democracy? Even the one we have in Nigeria is democracy. Arrangement. Sorry that lay fella is not around. So this thing about democracy. It is clear now that democracy will have to have quote unquote regional, sub-regional colorations. But there are still the basic rules. Multi-party, regular elections, then is what is now also popular and which should be adopted, term limitation. But these human beings, these characters, in all of these cases, they have removed term limitation and they want to be there forever. And in almost all of these countries, there are only two parties, the civilian elite and the uniformed elite. These are the two major parties. So when you have branches of the civilian elite forming what you really can call political parties, and one man gets into power and wants to stay there forever. Look, shaky as Niger is, by the time that the immediate past president's term was up, the maximum permissible, he left. And that accounts for something. Even now that they are buffeted for more size, not in particularly rich country, though they are fans of oil now, and whether it is their own oil or Nigeria, so it's still being smuggled there for refining. But that thing about transfer of power the other day, even though it was within the same party, but the man finished his term and left. Guinea man cancelled the thing. Alassane Ouattara, arguably the most educated of all of them, cancelled it. So I don't know what we're talking about. I would rather talk about demonstration of praise.
Right. Prof, I guess Paul is itching to say something.
Yes. Prof, I want to ask you this question. You spoke about Alpha Condé in Guinea. It was 83. He did a constitutional referendum that could help him to get a third term, even at the age of 83. Now, when I think about men like Condé, this question keeps rising in my mind. why is it difficult, or why do African countries, why do Africans keep electing the wrong people? Why do the worst of us keep ruling the best of us? Is it that Africans are not politically civilized enough to choose the right leaders, to insist that, to look at the pedigree of people who are coming out for elections and then take the right decisions? Why do we keep having this happening in different African countries?
The worst of us are the ones who have stolen the nation's wealth, and the best of us are the ones without access to the nation's wealth. So the worst of us will continue to rule because election is still heavily monetized. And actually, whether it's in America or in Nigeria, election is a serious business in terms of the monetary expenditure. But let me say this, as I've canvassed on other forums, and I will always canvass, there are two things you don't legislate for. You don't legislate for honor and integrity. A human being either has honor and integrity or he does not have it. Okay, take Nigeria now. The game has begun, and you have seen all kinds of characters, jailbirds, those awaiting sentencing, coming out to tell us they want to govern us. One came on one television the other day when they asked him about his profile, current profile, because this is a man who is on bail, a jailbird, and he flared up. If that is the reason you have invited me to this interview, he literally told them he will cancel the interview. I couldn't laugh, I couldn't cry. And the only thing he had to tell the viewing public is about how he had become a millionaire even from his mother's womb. Is that what democracy is all about? The worst of us will continue to govern the best of us, because the worst of us have stolen our money. Our money now meaning Africa's money. And then they are doing whatever they like to keep. Look at the Guinea man. Guinea is so rich in many minerals. And then the exploitation has begun. And that's the attraction for that man, that is their man to want to stay there forever. So it's not as if the electorate does not know how to choose. No. When you have chosen and the thing doesn't go the way of the man who has the upper hand, right, usually he has the money and he has the police. Right, Prof. They will appoint the votes. Yes.
Prof, yeah, I'll let you go now, but before I let you go, I wanted to, talk to us about the role of ECOWAS in all of this. ECOWAS sanctioning Mali at the time, saying election was held in February, and Mali is saying that no, election can't hold. It is better we have a nationwide conference so that we will get it right, and that doing it right is better than the speed. So what is the role of ECOWAS imposing sanctions on all of these erring, so to speak, erring countries, in uniting Africa, in uniting the West Africa, and ensuring that we do things the right way, the way we should do it?
ECOWAS is a talk shop, and the maximum that ECOWAS can do, ECOWAS has done. The only case in recent times where ECOWAS has shown that it actually can bite when it chooses to was when Nigeria assisted the Gambia to be free from the stranglehold of Yahya Jammeh. It was that show of force that the Nigerian military deployed at the instance of the president with concurrence, with the endorsement of ECOWAS, that frightened daylight out of Yahya Jammeh. So if it is all about sanctions, sanctions will not work, because these countries, the elite there will always maneuver, and then the downtrodden will remain where they have always been, downtrodden. So ECOWAS talk shop. If ECOWAS does not mobilize to show muscle and tell a misbehaving incumbent president, for instance, you cannot do this. You're going to misbehave.
Well, Professor of History at the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Professor Olukemi Rotimi, thank you very, very kindly for your insight.
Thank you.
Right. So let me bring this back to the studio as we coast on. We'll just have a few seconds to go. In the whole of this, in the scheme of things, where is Nigeria as a big brother in Africa? Because the president has said, no, they should restore, constitutional order and ensure that the country is run, on, based on constitution.
Yeah. I wanted to ask the prof what would be the Nigerian strategic response in terms of internal relations in the context of what is going on, in our neighbors here. Nigeria is the biggest country in West Africa in terms of population, so we should be able to rally other countries in West Africa to come with a kind of a common position to ensure that we put a stop. And I think there are a lot of things that we can do in that respect. That it's not even about military intervention. If all the countries, there are 16 countries in West Africa, and we are talking about coups in 3 countries, so they are still in minority. If all the countries can come together with a strong policy, I think we can. If we don't do it, it's going to really affect us in the nearest future.
Yeah, thank you. So just in 20 seconds, your thoughts on this?
What I would just say is that people must learn to choose the right leaders. See, it's not only the point of leadership we have, bad leadership we have in Africa or even in Nigeria. We also have bad followers, bad following. So we must learn, poverty or not, people must learn to come out as one and say, we don't want bad leaders. Let's get alternatives. It's doable, it's possible.